And let's start with what exactly is happening with China, because last month, China and the United States came to a temporary agreement for 90 days where they majorly rolled back the tariffs. But this relationship is seemingly falling apart over the past couple of days, because I want to read what President Trump said over the weekend. He claimed that China, quote, has totally violated its agreement with the US. And China rejected wholeheartedly that allegation. And China's Commerce Ministry said that the actions from the United States, quote, seriously undermine the existing consensus reached at the Geneva Economic and Trade Talks and seriously damage China's legitimate rights and interests. What do you make of where we are right now in the trade negotiations with the United States and China?
I really do hope that this is some active positioning. And, I think a number of very senior, members of the cabinet have said it's really going to require a conversation between the two leaders. And if that conversation can happen, and again, there's speculation that could be this week, if that conversation happens, I firmly believe that it will allow us to get over this current impasse and move forward. But that depends on the two most senior leaders probably in the world being able to come together and have a conversation and really push the agenda forward. So in this current phase, to be honest, I don't depend on anything happening as it should, but I always am very hopeful that common sense will prevail and that conversation will happen and we'll move on.
And so I know you said that all eyes are on China, and then people can figure out their next steps depending on what that deal looks like. I mean, what do you think? What are some indications of what that deal looks like before people make their next moves? I mean, what should people be looking out for?
I think people should be looking out for, what does the final result look like? So this is a very interesting, psychological test. So there was no tariffs, or there was 20% tariffs. Suddenly that became 145%. Then it reverts back to 30%. And we all celebrate. But if you think about it, we're actually still in a worse position than where we started. So from a pure, if I told you, hey, this thing that if you were going to buy this particular item in February, and then I told you it was going to be 145% more expensive, and now after through all of the different conversations, it's still going to end up 30% more expensive. You kind of look at that and going, okay, that's really interesting in terms of the cycle that we've been through. So what does success look like? A good outcome looks like a fair balance of trade for all countries around the world. It is our ability to be able to streamline and optimize the supply chain to accommodate all of that. And it really is the stop of these knee jerk reactions. I mean, one of the indicators that supply chain professionals look for are, the shipping rates coming from China. How much does it cost to ship a container from one of the southern Chinese ports into Long Beach or into, the port of Seattle? And those rates have been fluctuating madly over the last 6 weeks as the different decision points happen. Supply chains work best when there's some level of stability. So, how do we get to that level of stability? I'm not a politician. I can't tell you how those conversations need to work, but I do believe that it's better for everyone if we can get to an agreement.